Today, we are taking our newly modified Subaru Forester on another overlanding adventure. Our adventure starts back home in Alberta, where we head west into British Columbia. And after driving for more than a few hours, we get to the area that we'll be spending the next couple of days in. But first, we still have to get to our site for the night, which, after some searching, ends up being mere meters from the water. After a refreshing swim and some dinner, we watch the sun disappear behind the mountains and into the smoke before getting some sleep before tomorrow's exploration. After packing up the tent and heading to one of the many logging roads in the area, we find ourselves in the beautiful BC Backcountry, where we explore some of the forgotten trails and test out the new tires, before racing through the Forest Service roads and down through the winding side roads to my home for the next week. This is one camping trip you won't want to miss, so let's get started. But before we could explore the BC Backcountry, we had to get to it. Heading west, we jumped on the main highway and passed through the prairies and into the mountains. And as we got farther and farther west, the sky became smokier and smokier until the mountains disappeared into the smoke. And after more than 6 hours on the road, we made it through our last pass and into the final stretch of road. What is up and welcome back everyone. Today we get to take our freshly modified Subaru Forester on its first camping trip. But we're in a little bit different of a spot. If you notice, doesn't look like my local ghost camping area, or Alberta for that matter. And that's because, well, we're not in Alberta. We're actually in south central BC, kind of by the Shuswap. So that's why this area looks a lot different compared to what we're usually camping in. And that's because we are on a little bit of an adventure. So today we're gonna go take the Forester, hopefully find a beach camping spot and maybe test out the tires a little bit more and go explore a little bit. But as you can see behind me, it is super smoky. And that's because there's fires burning everywhere. On the drive here, it was super smoky. There's points where you couldn't see the mountains like Rogers and Pass and stuff like we did on the 5-day adventure. Way different. You couldn't see anything compared to there. You could see the mountain range and everything. It was like you were just driving through a constant haze. So looking out here, you can kind of see the next like kind of mountain over, or hill. Shuswap's not super mountainy, but the next hill over. But there's a fire burning on that side, and then there was a trip I really wanted to take while I'm here, but I can't because on the 2 Forest Service roads, there's fires on both of them, so unfortunately we can't do that. So we're gonna try to go closer to the water and stay safe and go find a beach camping spot. And that is exactly what we did. Back in the Forester, we jumped on the road that went around the lake and started heading towards the other side. Along the cliffside, we were able to see the lake below and scout for any possible offshoots that might lead us down towards the lake. So I've drove about 500 kilometers on these new wheels and tires, and I guess the suspension too, just the whole setup, the Forester in its current form. And I gotta say, I'm impressed. This thing is a road trip machine. It just chews through the miles like nobody's business. I was worried about the all-terrains being really noisy. They're actually quieter than Austin's, which were also all-terrains. These are just a little bit quieter and therefore make road tripping a lot easier. Like you can't hear them right now at all. And we're doing like 100, so that's good. And then also the little bit bigger sidewall helps with bumps a lot, so it really works in conjunction with the actual suspension. So it just makes going, like, as I said, I've done like probably 600 kilometers now at this point, and it's probably, I dare to say it was better than it was before we started modifying it, because, well, we had all the broken struts and we had super cheap tires. So yeah, it was definitely an improvement. So there's the road we came on, like just kind of a side road, and I think we're gonna go down here. There's some people stuff over that way, but no one camping. So I think if we kind of just pull in here, we should be able to find a spot. Knowing that I would be driving on loose gravel, I aired down the tires, then headed down to the beach. While there was a little drop, it was nothing for the Forester as it rolled right over top of it. Heading to where I originally thought I could set up camp, I could quickly tell that there was way too much of a slope to actually set up camp. And with the beach chores gone, I thought that might be the perfect spot. So I backed the car up, and after a little bit of rearranging, we finally got our little lakeside campsite. Well, there we go. After a little bit of maneuvering, I got it kind of level. Honestly, it's not super level, but I'm not super picky. I did shove some rocks under this side and a lot under the front wheel, and it's still not perfectly level, but I'm not too concerned because check out where we're camping. It is awesome. We're literally right beside the water. It's a little bit smoky, but such a cool spot to be camping, and this is why I love it so much out here, because right there is the side road, and then right here is where we're camping. I was kind of actually expecting more off-roading to get to this trail. I was expecting that to be a dirt road, so the video's gonna be kind of backwards compared to usual, where we off-road to where we're camping. We're gonna, I guess, do a little bit of off-roading after we camp. I'm not complaining though, this site is awesome. And well, there we go. We now have the tent set up. And it's still hot out. It's 7 and it's still hot out. So maybe I'll go for a swim before I eat some food, because this water is actually clear. I know it. So you can actually see where I am in the water. Not like the other BC trip where the water was a little bit more cloudy. And I have the vents open on the tent. Hopefully they cool down, but I have no idea. I've had a couple boats pass me and everyone's like looking, and then I wave and they're like, oh, that's cool. But it's definitely something I guess people don't see out here as much. But I also have the hammock now set up, so we can go sit down. I have the proper hammock straps. I'm not using a tow strap anymore. And we can just sit down here and enjoy the sunset that's gonna come in like 3 hours, I don't know. But I think I'm gonna go for a swim because it's too hot to make dinner, and all that setting up the tent, even though it doesn't take very long anymore, got me a little warm. I think it's like 30, yeah, it's like 30. And after enjoying the view from the hammock a bit more, it was time to go jump in the lake, literally. Being such a large lake that doesn't get a ton of flow in the summer, it was actually pretty warm. It was a perfect temperature to cool off after a long day on the road. While it wasn't crystal clear, it was definitely clear enough to see the rocky bottom and dive down to it. And after enjoying it for a bit longer, it was time to have some dinner before the sun set. Well, that swim was quite refreshing. The water is actually so much warmer than the other 2 lakes I tried to swim on during our 5-day overlanding trip. And it's clear, so this lake just wins in pretty much everything. But I also went ahead and had dinner, and the sun decided it was going to go ahead and set behind that mountain. It was like bright red when I was swimming, so we didn't really get any footage of that. But you probably, if you live in Alberta, you know exactly what, or even BC, you know what a forest fire sunset looks like, just bright red and not much else. As you see, I don't think it's really clearing up, and I don't think it will for the next week, so I don't think we'll get very many good views in that sense. You can see like there's boats right here. A local came up and when I was talking, he's like, technically you're not supposed to overnight camp here. There was no sign, so whatever. He's like, I won't tell anyone. If I was them, I'd be putting a sign right there so when you come down here, you don't think you can overnight camp, because I have seen 0 signs. Other than that, I think I'm going to sit on the hammock, enjoy the view, and relax. And as the sun set over the lake itself calmed, till there wasn't a ripple on the whole thing. As the lake descended into darkness and the last remaining glow of the sun disappeared, the lights in the houses across the lake came on, replacing the stars that wouldn't be seen tonight. And there we go. So it is about time to now go to bed, but I don't think it's ever going to get dark. I tried shooting some astrophotography, it didn't work, so I shot some other stuff, like some smoke like this. And then I kind of figured that because of the smoke, because of the full moon, and because of the lights, there's no way it's going to get dark enough to shoot some astrophotography. It's just not clear enough. And now we're here. So as you can probably tell, not a sound. The only sound is a typical forest sound. I also realize the car is on a bit of a tilt. It pushes you towards the window pretty good, as you guys kind of saw. You really feel it when you're laying down, so it'll be interesting to see how it is to sleep. And speaking of sleep, that's what we're going to be going to do. So see you in the morning. And good morning, everyone. Check out this beautiful morning on the Shuswap. Look at that water. I should be out water skiing right now, but there's not a soul on the water besides, where is it? Somewhere around here there's a houseboat. He's cruising along. Usually I don't go this far, so it's interesting to see a houseboat down on this end. And now we're recharged to do a little bit of exploring today. So today I want to go check out this mountain behind us. I don't know exactly where it's up there. I know there's actually another lake up on the top of the mountain between the two arms of the Shuswap. Never even heard of it, so we're gonna go check that out. I might drive all the way down this road and see what you can get to the end, because on this arm on the other side there's boat-in houses where you actually have to drive a boat in to get to the house, so that's pretty crazy. So maybe see if there's a service road that goes up above those and something. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna be checking out beautiful Shuswap Lake and all of the surrounding area. But first, we gotta go ahead and skip some rocks. So one of my most entertaining things to do when I was a kid out here was, because the water's so smooth and the type of rock out here is like super thin, it makes the greatest skipping rocks ever. So we're gonna go ahead and skip some of these ones I found that are just like perfect. If you haven't skipped a rock before, all you need is a slightly heavier flat rock. You just grab it on one edge and then just wing it as fast as you can, and it should skip pretty good. That one went way too high. I need to get closer to the water. Well, there we go. We have the tent packed up. I've had some breakfast and we're pretty much all ready to go start exploring. But first, we gotta check the wildfires in the area. So using Gala, I'm able to pull up my Backroads country map and also the wildfire map. Where scrolling around, I'm actually able to see, okay, so there's a fire here and there's a fire here. The two roads I wanted to do, as I said, but the two roads that are now closed because of fire. That big one, that one's got bigger, so we can't go up there, obviously. And then I think we should be good down here, and where we are all good to explore this area. So that is what we're gonna do. See, there's lots of roads and forest roads, so I think we're just gonna pick one and start going. But first, we had to get to one of the Forest Service roads. So back on the paved roads we went. Till the winding paved road turned to dirt and eventually turned into our Forest Service road. And check it out, there was a sign back there that said you are off a public road. This is now a Forest Service road. So we got the Forester ready. I retorqued the bolts on the beadlocks, just making sure that they were still torqued because that front wheel was a little low. And then I aired down the rest of the tires, just 20 psi. I ran 40 here, so we can run it way lower with the beadlocks, but I just ran it there for now just because we are on a road still, we're not just on a trail. And then I went ahead, you guys can kind of see on the sign it says RR20. That is the radio frequency for this road. You should be calling, when you're on forest roads, you should be calling your up, down, your location and the direction you're traveling. So people that are also on this road know where you're going. So put that in my radio and we were ready to go. So let's go and hit the road. And that is what we did. Kilometer after kilometer, we headed down the Forest Service Road and up the mountain. While it wasn't as good as a public road, the trail was still wide open and relatively smooth. Every couple of kilometers, there was a new turnoff to a new trail, and while I wanted to check out every one, I had to keep in mind the time and the goals of making it to the top. It's been pretty much like this the whole way, more of a like forest road, but it's starting to get a little more intense up here, so we're gonna take our time now because we can burn those pretty quick, especially with the setup, but getting a little rough up there, a little bit of erosion. But I also noticed there is so many camping spots out here, it's awesome. Like you can go probably in there and camp. I think that used to be a logging road, but then there's also a deactivated forest road right here. As we got higher and higher, the trail got smaller and smaller and less maintained, till we hit the classic dips in the trail and the remnants of logging in the past. And the road disappeared, now into a single lane trail, where we hit our fork in the road. Well, the trail forks off to that way, which I think goes way down into the valley and back to the lake, but the complete opposite way I want to go. And then this way should go up to the mountain, so I think we're gonna go that way and just reach the top of here before we turn around. Well, this just got really dense real quickly. Look at this. It's like we're just now driving through a forest. So we went from forestry road to this. This is interesting. We'll see how far we can go before we might have to back down or something. I had my doubts that this overgrown trail would take us anywhere, but I continued to push through the vegetation that took over the trail. Going slow enough to look out for the holes in the trail in front of us, I could hear the plants being pushed off the skid plates as we rolled over them. And as we continued, we became fully submerged in the forest till, on the other side, we made it to a clearing. Well, this isn't really the mountainous part of BC, so this is the top, I guess. There is not much out here besides just a little spot to pull over and a spot to turn around and go back down the hill. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna head back down the hill and maybe get a little bit of those side roads rather than just taking the forestry road all the way down. So let's get it. Now knowing our route down the FRS, we could have a little bit of fun and test out the Forester's Rally heritage. After a quick descent, we were back on that Forest Service Road, where we continued on the original direction towards the smaller lake. Driving past the lake, we could see a few smaller camping spots along the lake that I noted down for next time when we are here, and headed towards the pavement. Gravel, asphalt. So we have made it off the trail and onto the asphalt, and we are aired up. So it's now time to head around Shuswap and over to the other side. Back on the pavement with the tires aired up, we could go ahead and get started on our hour drive around the lake. While these roads would be a lot of fun in the STI, they still made it an enjoyable drive in the Forester. Even without sway bars and the tent on the roof, the Forester still felt planted as we went through curve after curve along the lake. And there we go, check it out guys, we have made it to the other side of the shoe shop. Well, we were on the other side, but we have made it back to where we're gonna be staying for the week. We're not camping. As I said, I've been coming here for years and years and years. There's videos of me as a little kid here, so spent lots of summers here and I'm gonna spend another one here. But that is gonna be it, so I hope you guys enjoyed this camping adventure and kind of test of the new wheels and tires on the Forester. I know I did, as I said, night and day compared to our old setup, so I can't wait to go ahead and try it out again. But that is gonna be it, and that is gonna be all. So as always, peace out and stay humble.